All right, welcome back to the channel. We are going to go ahead and get prepped to get our intermediate plate and flywheel installed. Flywheel has been resurfaced, cleaned up at the machine shop, new ring gear put on it. We have our flywheel bolts. They are 3/4 inch. I have a 5/8 12 point that I'm going to put on my front crank bolt just to keep the crank in place when I'm torquing them. Bolts on the flywheel get torqued to 100 to 110 foot-pounds. Interesting thing is you got to be careful with putting it on here. You can see the space between these two bolts is smaller than the rest. So the flywheel is essentially keyed to go on only one way onto the crankshaft for balancing. Here's our intermediate plate and bottom plate. We're going to go ahead and get set up to get those all installed. Alright, we've got our intermediate plate in place. Now we're going to go ahead and put the flywheel in. Whoops. Put a drop of blue Loctite on each of the bolts. All right, now we're going to go ahead, torque these to 110 foot-pounds. We're going to do that in a crisscross pattern as well. All right, now we're going to wipe down the surface of that flywheel and get ready to install the clutch. Next step is going to be to put the clutch in. So, we've got a center force disc, pressure plate, and we got some new center force bolts as well. All right, we're going to go ahead and get set up with those. Get the alignment tool so we can go ahead and get that installed. Okay, we've got the disc ready to go on. As you can see, there is a tag noting the flywheel side. We have our alignment tool. So we're going to go ahead and fit that right in there. And then that's going to push through into our pilot bearing area. We've got new pressure plate bolts. Center Force says that they do not require locking compound, though if you want to use some, they say to use only one single drop. So that I did. I personally prefer to have them.
You allow your pets on the furniture or not. And the general consensus is they are allowed on the furniture because they're family. And I'll bet you want some holiday photos with your pet too. You can do that at the new Duke's Delight location. It's at 1341 Nick Road in Whitehall. The sales will be out there Saturday from 9 to 1.
We're going to get all 6 of these started. And then we will work in a crisscross pattern to snug the bolts up.
Hi, it's Joe from the Hawk Morning Show. Another sweet deal of the week with Skaggy's Axe House, Center Square in Easton. Axe throwing is all the rage these days, and the valley's premier axe throwing house is Skaggy's. Not 1, not 2, but 17 axe throwing lanes. Plenty of room for all your friends. Single lanes hold up to 6 throwers, double lanes hold up to 12 throwers. Bring your family, bring your friends, bring everybody from the office. Bring a friend to Skaggy's Axe House in Easton. And don't forget about our sweet deal of the week tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. log on to sweetdeals.com. Get a 2-hour axe throwing session at Skaggy's half price. The $50 value half price will be $25. So I know somebody listening to this thing, they don't take a throwing axe no matter how hard I try. Well, I have a booze on full service bar, and the Valley's first ever self-serve beer wall, 12 beers on tap. Get some alcohol in your system. You'll surprise yourself. Joe from the Hawk Morning Show with another sweet deal of the week. Skaggy's Axe House in Easton. A 2-hour axe throwing session at Skaggy's half price. $50 value, only $25. 9 a.m. tomorrow morning at sweetdeals.com.
If you get something exciting this holiday season, this is your inviting you to Westby Jewelers for the best estate jewelry collection in the Lehigh Valley. We have over 45 years of experience in estate jewelry. Westby Jewelers carries designer pieces, exquisite diamond jewelry, antique treasures from the past, deco pieces, and amazing silver jewelry. This collection is not to be overlooked. Westby Jewelers inside the Westgate Mall in Holiday.
If your cubic region was quote-unquote junk, you wouldn't need America's #1 trusted men's grooming brand. But it's not. So show some respect with new Gillette Instant for a gentle and easy shave. Gillette Instant, the best a man can get. Buy now at Walmart.
Are you finished?
Trying to go ahead and bring this in a relatively uniform manner. now we're going to torque these 35 foot-pounds. Okay, we just have to finish torquing these. I had to unfortunately switch to a different torque wrench because I was using a 1/2 inch drive, and it's just too tight along these bolts to get in there. Them all. Make sure they're all at 35. Okay. And then we can go ahead and remove our alignment tool. All right, clutch is installed. Next step is going to be to go ahead and get the bell housing bolted up, and then I'll be able to put the transmission in. So the bell housing is ready to go on. And the bell housing is held to the block by 6 bolts. There's 2 alignment dowels. And in typical AMC fashion, they're assorted sizes and lengths. Now there are a few extra holes on here, like this top one does not get used. I guess they use the same bell housing on the 304 as they do on the straight 6. And you would not need it, as well as these 2 would actually go straight through the block and have nuts on the other side on the straight 6. These will get put in and torqued to 30 foot-pounds. Then we'll be able to put the transmission in place and bolt that up and get that mounted to the cross member. And then the motor will be fully supported. Okay, these all get torqued to 30 foot-pounds. Okay. All right, we're gonna get the transmission ready to bolt up. Well, we are finally to one of the best parts. Been wanting to get this trans in here for a long time. Rebuilt it several months ago. So let's see how well we aligned everything. Alrighty. Alright, gonna have to adjust this. Okay, the trans is in. What I ended up doing after I shut the camera off before is I put the jack under the oil pan just to stop some of that wiggling on there, because obviously I have the back of the motor supported by the crane. There's a lot of weight coming off of it on the back of it now. That little bit that is about a 1/4 inch that it wouldn't slide in was actually the bell housing. There's the round opening on the bell housing where it goes around the input shaft cap, the input bearing cap, I should say. It's just a tight fit, so I put all 4 bolts in and was very easily able to turn them, you know, crisscrossing around the transmission, and it pulled it right in. I had all brand new grade 8 hardware for the mounting bolts, but the lower ones, as I went to torque them to 45 foot-pounds, felt like the threads were giving way. And then looking closely at it, I realized I think I needed a little bit longer bolts down there, so I had some bolts that were about 3/8 of an inch longer, almost a 1/2 inch longer, and they threaded right in, and I was able to get full torque on them with no problem. So I just didn't think I was biting enough of the threads, the aluminum threads there on that bell housing. But everything else torqued properly. I just got to move the mount. Looks like the mount is going to go up to the middle there, and then drop that down. And then I'll be able to have the transmission mounted. I used a ratchet strap and pulled the throwout bearing fork back to disengage the clutch, and it spins freely in there, and then released it, and obviously now it won't turn when it's in gear. But everything spins and moves freely. Alright, I just got to put the lower plate cover in there. That will be, I'll wait till I get the transmission mounted and in place, and then we'll be able to put the transfer case on, which is over there. So, alright, I'm going to go ahead and get this mount in place. I'm going to have to move that forward, and I'll get the camera, bring you back in as soon as I get that in place. Got the mount for the transmission moved. I did not videotape it. Would have been a lot of back and forth with very little narrating. It's definitely a very tight fit. I ended up having to actually take the mount out, enlarge the holes in the skid plate a little bit, actually enlarge the holes in the mount a little bit, just so I could slide the mount back a little bit, and just a hair further. And but everything lined up good. Everything's torqued and tight. Engine is sitting nice and square. The crane is gone. No more crane having to support it. Next, we're going to go ahead and get the transfer case on. That should go right in, and we should be all set. All right, I'm going to go ahead and set up for getting that in place. Let's get this lifted into place. We've got a Dana 300. It's been completely rebuilt. Completely rebuilt using parts from Novak. It's been set up to be twin sticked. All right, that's in place. I'm gonna go ahead and torque those bolts down. Transfer case bolts are all tight and torqued, and everything is in place. Everything lines up well. God, I have to say, coming from the world of having a four-door JK and looking at that rear drive shaft, I'm just like, wow. Gonna order a set of Adams drive shafts for this. Got the cover plate installed. Well, that's all for this video. Thank you very much for joining with us. Please comment below if you have any comments or suggestions. Like and subscribe if you enjoy watching what we're doing here. Thank you very much and have a great day.